Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm going to go out on a limb and do something a little different today and go through line by line of my therapist's notes from last year. Some of my subscribers suffer with mental health issues, understandably, having their own internal problems and circumstances in their life, not to mention throwing on top the existential despair one feels going through climate collapse information. So I'll just get right into it. I only pursued mental health services for a few months. You'll see here it starts in July last year. I finally took responsibility. And just as a preface, I had been living alone for several years. I would say from the time about I was 26 to 33, which I was in this, so that's going on 7 years. I was living alone, and only later did I find out that when you are not in contact with other people, even in your proximity, like if you're completely isolated, your stress response rises exponentially. I mean, that should be kind of a no surprise, but this has been conducted in lab rats and other examinations of personal behavior and psychology. So I don't exactly remember the chemical right now, but there's a certain chemical in your brain that produces when you are even in just casual conversation with someone on a daily basis or just surrounded by people. So I had none of that, and I was processing this information, which is a lot. So I'm going to start from the beginning, go line by line, try to go through this rather quickly. And I did, just short story, I did end up getting on antidepressant and another sleep medication, which helped me sleep at night. I am also, cut to the chase, I'm good now. I feel content, I guess you could say. I have no internal crises going on. My life is pretty stable. I'm not in any concern about anything. So this was kind of an interim thing until I could get on. And I got on, obviously, state health insurance to pursue this. So otherwise, no employer would have given me proper health insurance because this is America. Okay, let's get into it. So it starts off July 27th. I'm going to cast my screen here. The patient was engaged in supportive therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy, autonomous in practice and in documentation of EM. Discussed reframing, trying not to live too much in the future that you can't enjoy the moment. Psychotherapy, education, support, and guidance were provided face-to-face in the outpatient via telemedicine. So we were talking in person. No other family members were present. We discussed benefits of medications prescribed, side effects. So I got onto Effexor, and then I continued my trazodone for sleep. Consider individual therapy for eco-distress and anxiety. At least she got that right. Follow up in 3 to 4 weeks or sooner. She got a lot right, actually. I continued on her assessment. MDD, improving, currently denies depressive effects and severe episode in the past. Generalized anxiety disorder, improving. Autism spectrum disorder, tentative. RO, ADHD. I was suffering with insomnia and mood disorder and PTSD. PTSD checklist for the DSM-5. I was 59 out of 80 points checklisted for that. I definitely had some PTSD. Generalized anxiety disorder, 15 out of 21 checked. And questionnaire, 17 out of 27. Estimated intelligence based upon current levels of awareness, average. At this point, I had not told her about my IQ score yet. Not that it matters. Judgment in everyday activities, fair. Social activities, fair. No suicidal thoughts, no homicidal thoughts. Psychotic symptoms, psychotic behavior, none. Thought processes, I think, within normal limits. Generally good. Direction, logical. I'm logical. My associations with things are intact. I'm not delusional and can't notice time and place. Affect, within normal limits. Intensity, mildly intense. Chronic presentation. Don't you guys know about it? Congruent, yes. Liability, none. Other, not available. Mood, I reported pretty fine at this time. Overall mood assessed by clinician, generally euthemic. Not available. Speech, coherent, rate, volume, all within normal limits. Attitude, engagement, cooperative and engaged. Abnormal behavior, none. I was just crippling loneliness, okay? General appearance, consistent. I don't look like a wild animal. Fair, chin length, blonde hair, eye contact, fair. I mean, this is all just normal stuff, what you can expect when you go in to see a clinician. They're going to evaluate your everything, okay? I was on Klonopin in the past, and I would take Xanax in my 20s. It did give me erectile dysfunction disorder, which I was not a fan of. No identifiable history of psychosis. Patient adamantly denies suicidal or homicidal ideation and adamantly denies any urges, plans, or intentions of self-harm or suicide. Indeed, this is true. I did not think about suicide, even though I just purchased my own firearm. Like previous to this, maybe like a few months prior to this, I'd purchased my first gun. He denies history of elevated, expansive, irritable mood lasts longer than more than one day or more than a few hours. Denied history of decreased need for sleep, impulsivity, and pressured speech. Increased goal directedness. He does report energy is typically high most days, and he feels he's productive most days, but that baseline for him, he says. I have had history of panic attacks in the past. Like I felt completely untethered 2 or 3 times. Last about 1 week ago over financial issues. It was a mini one, lasted about 30 minutes. I would say it's just like a detachment from reality and feeling just overwhelmed, Here's some special notes. Irritability. If I see one more blonde 21-year-old girl in a Range Rover just oblivious to the planet, I might lose it. Feeling tense or restless the majority of the time. I had fatigue, difficulty in concentration, sleep disturbance, mixed bag. I'm doing my best. I strive for 7 or 8 hours, but my mind gets racing, trouble relaxing every day. I mean, typical anxiety disorder, symptoms. And that's what she's reporting. Symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder. Constantly worry daily, difficult to control the worry. Feeling as though something awful might happen near daily. Yeah, this is a symptom of PTSD, or you've had a really traumatic life, is you start to feel like, oh my God, my tire's going to pop. Oh my God, like the bottom's going to drop out under me. Okay, moving on. The patients report symptoms of depression, including depressed or irritable most days, 2 weeks, greater than 2 weeks a day. Mood is generally good for a few hours. Sleep disturbances with initial insomnia. Anhedonia, lack of pleasure in activities, amotivation, decreased interest in things that previously enjoyed, feeling worthless, excessive inappropriate guilt, fatigue, diminished ability to think consistently, increased appetite, psychomotor agitation, retardation. All of these are classic symptoms of depression. Thoughts of what's the point a lot, almost every day. In regards to doomsday thinking with global warming, denies active SI plan intent. These issues have made it extremely difficult to function in multiple areas, including social work and activities of daily living, like cooking, washing clothes, the dailies of activities, daily living. History of a depressive episode in 2019, existential crisis, and SI. Made a Facebook post that I would be better off dead, and a family member called the police, had a brief inpatient hospitalization, diagnosed with a mood disorder, and he told he probably had Asperger's or autism spectrum disorder. I have Asperger's in my family. Autism spectrum disorder symptoms, sensory issues, bright lights, lack of interpersonal relationships. Says he doesn't struggle with social cues, feels extremely cut off from others and isolated, trouble experiencing positive feelings. Yeah. Says he has an IQ of 133. That's wrong. It's 130, but within 5 to 10 base points. It's not terribly much. You're not trending that much off different. I took a test last year. That alone is very isolating. Yeah, if you're smart, you're alone, okay? He has climate anxiety. Here we go. Some days it hits me so hard, it's just a huge punch in the gut. I'm not depressed, I'm just a doomer. Some days I wish there was a doomer pill you could take. Some days you just want to yell at people. His anxiety regarding global warming has a sense of urgency and doom regarding this is significant. He says he came to the realization that reality of global warming a couple of years ago. I just started bawling. At times he'd yell at people at stoplights while holding his phone showing the globe temperatures to them. He has a YouTube channel where he vlogs about the global warming crisis, and he has a community that he's involved with there. All you little miracles. Who presents for initial psychiatric depression and anxiety, referred internet self for I checked myself, and depression and anxiety go back to early 20s. They began to worsen after last relationship ended in 2019. The pandemic became. He has told he's high-functioning autism and passed by psychiatrists. He's tried exercise, good nutrition, meditation, and sleep, as well as using cannabis. These measures have helped some. He feels it has gotten to the point where he needs to be prescribed medication to help again. Interested in venlafaxine, one of his YouTubers recommended, and they struggle with climate change and the existential anxiety as he does. Okay, going on to my next visit. No headaches, paralysis, paresthesias, tics, tremors, none of that. No discomfort, no fever, chills, malaise. Oh, this is from when I first started taking the medication. I felt a little weird. We follow up and I say I'm pretty fine. A week or two after stop taking Effexor, I got off the antidepressant. Yeah, I was pretty weird. I was having erectile dysfunction, and I called in about that, and he said give it some time and everything is fine now. Yeah, that was pretty uncomfortable. Considering I was in a relationship. Taking arginine, maca root, and ginkgo root supplements, which is helping. I also take kava now and maca root. Yes, apparently. Those were for the erectile dysfunction. Relationship still going well at this time. I needed the companionship. I said, I'm really happy. I don't feel to be on antidepressants right now. I just wanted a girlfriend, I guess. Trazodone for sleep, a godsend. Yeah, trazodone I still take. Helps him stop from overthinking at night. Denies any adverse SC. Has had some brain zaps and fogginess coming off Effexor, but this is since resolved. Denies depression or anxiety currently. Here we go, guys. Still with doomsday anxiety, but this is not the prominent in his conversation today. Acknowledges he must also enjoy the present. We can end it now, but we still have another good 10 years. Important to enjoy it until the music stops playing. Still posts content to YouTube channel Global Warming. He considers a move at the end of summer to Alabama. I was going to move there. Found out that there's someone living in a trailer this guy promised. Thinks he'll do dual residency because he's in love with his girlfriend. He wants to go back and forth between Alabama and Arkansas, but equally and keep residence in Arkansas. Had his girlfriend take a personality test at understandmyself.com, which I recommend all of you guys do. So with this and his autism spectrum disorder, he can more clearly understand her personality and strengths and weaknesses, so he can understand and learn how to acclimate to these things. Indeed. And also 2 children, which were living with us. Patient adamantly denies suicidal, homicidal ideation and adamantly denies any urges, plans, or intentions of self-harm or suicide. Long past that, guys. Long past that. If I would have did it, it would have been years ago. Past medical history, social, and everything was pretty normal. So this is kind of wrap up, guys. This is what you can expect if and when you go to a therapist or counselor. They're going to take a prior history of symptoms and essentially kind of like diagnose you on the spot, and get what you need. Sometimes you need the help. You need to get through. And on the bright note, as I mentioned earlier in this video, thanks to you guys' help and personal circumstances that improved, I'm in a much better place. Healthy, sound, attentive, and ready for collapse. At this point, just saving up, enjoying the moment, and preparing for doom. I hope you guys were able to take something from that. I'll talk to you later. Take care of your mental health. You're not alone. See ya.